What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the main stand, season 2, episode 32. We've got Josh, we've got Pat, we've got myself, Mitch, back to talk about a very interesting week of footy, I would say. A lot of moves in the front offices of clubs around the Premier League, as well as some interesting games on the pitch. Boys, welcome back.
I think you should ring us in every weekend or every week. That was so good. I
That was
like that.
smooth.
That was a great introduction, Mitch. I want you doing it every week from now
It was
on.
clean, it was crisp, I was ready.
I'm good. I'm good. I had a good weekend for football's sake. Really good time at the zoo with my good pal Josh.
And Bird.
And of course, and Bird. Can't forget Bird.
All four people
The
there on
best the
a
best
on a
times at the
Saturday at
zoo are
7:30.
when it's just four people.
Yeah,
When you have
exactly.
unfiltered access and can make just whatever noise and commotion you want. It's the best.
I unfortunately didn't get to make it down. The weather was just not ideal. I was driving back from Boston the night before, white knuckled. I got home and I just had to sit in the driveway for a minute and breathe because I could not see the road. And I
That's
was like,
stressful.
I don't want to wake up at 6 o'clock and drive another hour in shitty weather, boys.
No, I wouldn't want to either. That's understandable. And then the result of the game, I think it's just best you
Yeah.
weren't there,
Yeah,
if we're
no, I
being
was
totally honest.
when we went 3-1 down, I was like, I'm so glad I stayed home if I'm being honest.
I don't know how many good games I've had at the zoo this year, to be honest. I mean, I think Spurs, the 2-0 against Spurs and then 1-0 against Man City, feels like every other time we've gone in, it's just been a shit result from Liverpool. And
The games have
Man
been
City just eviscerated us.
just dissected.
Yeah, there's not really a ton to talk about with it. You guys got killed, man. It was
You know what,
just
though? The solid goal gave me life. The solid goal happened. I will remember it. It gave me life. It made the first 10 minutes enjoyable. So,
yeah, you were really confident on the Instagram story for 13 minutes, and then it kind of went downhill for you after that.
you have to capture great content when it's out there. And it was there, and it died quickly, but I had it.
Reels that aged poorly.
Yeah, Instagram stories that didn't go well. Mine was great though. Mine got more. Mine got plenty of reaction from the folks. I mean, I guess a couple of takeaways from the game really are just like Liverpool are not the same team that they were last season. We've known that all year, but I think these games that like they've been able to get up for are clashes with the regular top six games against City, games against United, etc. And I think this game really did just show that they're not the same. There are a lot of problems with that team. And they kind of all got exposed by City. At least those were my takeaways from a Liverpool standpoint. I don't know if you guys have anything to touch on with Liverpool before I got like two things I want to mention about City, and then we can get to push into the rest of the league here.
Yeah, I mean, it was just really
I have
bad.
nothing to. Yeah, it was bad. I'm just gonna hold my tongue and really put my 2 cents in when we talk about the Chelsea game.
Yeah, it's valid. We didn't have a midweek game. Only other takeaways for me are Jack Grealish. I think played his best game in a City shirt against you guys over the weekend. And it's funny when there isn't a fullback trying to be a midfielder occupying the same exact spaces that Grealish wants to occupy. He looks like $100 million player. So happy to see him getting some good form. I hope we give Bayern a deal on Cancelo when he never comes back. And I think John Stones deserves some of his, a lot more respect that I think a lot of people are willing to give him. I think he deserves his flowers for the versatility of defender that he is, and I think he had a really good game in City's midfield too. Let it be known, midfield, not at the back, midfield. Um, Great player, great guy. Happy to have him at the club, and I think he's when he's confident and he's healthy. There's not a lot of players I would pick over him for what he brings to a side. Outside of that, yeah, City or City. I need you
Yeah.
guys to do us a favor and find your form against Arsenal this weekend.
It's at Anfield, I think. Yeah, it's at Anfield, but I don't know. I don't see much happening unless like Diaz and Thiago can somehow magically play. We
I'll
watched
take
it
a
again
1-1.
we watched it again against Chelsea, and it was just the defense isn't shocking. Allison keeps us in games when we probably necessarily shouldn't be in them, but we're just not good right now. So it is what it is.
Yep. I think that pretty much sums up your season. It is what it is.
Yeah, you just gotta take it on the chin and move on. You know that there'll be investment in the summer, hopefully, and the season starts fresh in August, September. So it was like that during the COVID year when we were fighting for top four. You just gotta forget about it. That's how football
Yeah.
is.
What
Yeah,
was
that's a
what
good
was
way to
that?
look at it too.
What was that meme I sent you earlier today, Pat? The graph. Let's see where I rank right now on the mood meter.
Hmm.
Um, we're very we're very mid energy and very unpleasant right now. So I mean, we're teetering on the line between it is what it is and it's so over. Uh, just personally, for me. And this stretch of four games, Real Madrid, City, fucking
Chelsea.
Chelsea
Arsenal,
Arsenal.
Chelsea, like this has been a brutal month to be a Liverpool fan so far. It's not over yet, but this stretch of four games is really doing me in mentally. It's just hard to watch. It's just really hard to watch and love what the club is doing. It's kind of frustrating.
It's different though than I think like a Chelsea where it's like I feel like
It
Chelsea fans are
is.
frustrated. I think we can accept what's happening and like accept that we did have players injured for big parts of the season. The midfield we know has needed reshaping and stuff
Yeah.
and investment. So if that stuff happens, I think we can go into next season optimistic. Um, but yeah, it just hasn't been good enough around the field. And a big reason why I think we're not going to get top four is we'll go right into the next topic, which is how good Newcastle have been playing. Two big
Mm.
wins against Manchester United, and they fucking killed West Ham in the middle of the week, 5-1.
Yeah,
It,
they're unreal. I think they're going to do it. I think I said it a few weeks ago that ultimately I think they'd hold on to top four, and I'm feeling even more confident about that. I think they're a really, really, really good side.
Champions League
New,
nights at St. James Park too. I mean, whew, what a place
it's
that's gonna
gonna
be.
it's gonna be great for the fans of that club, but it's just I do want to preface West Ham isn't the team they were last year at all. But Newcastle definitely showed the power that they can assert on any given week, and they are front to back playing extremely well.
I think Newcastle are a little bit of a different situation than West Ham. I do think that's a good point to bring up that European football can change a lot for
Yeah,
a
Yeah.
club over the course of 1 year. I think the difference is going to be Newcastle have the financial ability to like make good, smart, and like strong investment to
not
make
just
sure
like
that
a
they could actually compete on both fronts. I
For
don't think
sure.
that the owners expect Newcastle to like be challenging for the double with investment next season, but I do think that they can spend money in the right places and say, yeah, you guys should stay in the top four and get out of your Champions League group to start. And I think that they have the ownership to do that, unlike a West Ham who may not be able to make like the best investments or have like the best like footballing project to bring some of these fringe guys to. Like I don't think you'd ever see Bruno Guillermes in a West Ham shirt if the tables were turned and they just aren't the same kind of club that Newcastle is. So I think they have, like I said, the pulling power and the financial ability to be a stable like top six club now
Yeah.
that this new investment has come in and they've shown that with a little bit, look what we can do.
Yeah.
I think that the patch investments have worked out so
Yeah.
far. Like they bring in a guy like Trippier and he's shored up that defense so much.
Mm,
Like Willock in the midfield has been great this year.
mm.
They've made the right decision so far. So given that European money,
Yeah.
Be sure to see them for the next 4 or 5 years being a top four contender year in, year out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
along with Isaac and a full season of Bruno too. I think big investment this summer now that they've made the Champions League is on the horizon, and I'm excited to see what they
Yeah.
do. I
You
think that they're a club that like has the history to like be in these positions, so it's good to see them kind of back on top and competing for like a top spot in England.
Yeah, you have Pope and Botman in the back of that defense too. You're starting to look at that team and wonder what areas there are to improve because there's less of them than a lot less of them than there were a year ago. So it'll be interesting to see how
Cover
they
for
approach it. I
Bruno.
mean, Pat, it's a very similar to when you started watching City. I mean, to watch how they
Agreed.
kind of approach it, and they've had a very, I think, more shrewd approach than we thought. We thought they were just going to explode their checkbooks, and they've made some smart kind of cheap signings like Joe Willock, like Mitch mentioned. So it's interesting to see kind of how they approach that with Champions League money in the summer.
Yeah. No, it's similar to City's starting approach. It was like
Yeah.
Dzeko to start, and then there was like that big summer with Aguero, Balotelli, uh, among others. The names are like I think Tevez came in the same window. A bunch of guys all came in, and then they won a title. So I'm interested to see. I think this could be Newcastle's like bigger summer,
Yep, for
and then
sure.
we really see what they're made of when they make big investment in places.
So we touched on West Ham a little bit there. Let's touch on the relegation battle because it's one that's probably closer than it has been in years I can remember. Southampton and Leicester are definitely kind of Southampton especially looks like they're on the way down at 23 points. Leicester at 25, Sack and Brodge, which we'll talk about probably a little bit later. And then you have a plethora of teams on 27 with West Ham, Everton, Forest, and Bournemouth. One, what do you guys think of all this, especially lately? And who do you have as the second and third teams probably going down, considering we all probably agree on Southampton at this point?
Hmm. I think Bournemouth and honestly Forest are my two picks to go down with them. I was pretty high on Forest at the start of the season. Mitch hasn't shown it, but he's probably thrilled that Forest are about to get relegated, given the start of the season stuff. But
I just know I'm not wrong when I say shit like that.
uh, yeah, I think Leicester had like just enough to stay up, and now that Rogers is gone, they'll hopefully get a little bit of that new manager bounce, keep themselves up. Everton have Dyche, so I fucking hate him, but they're gonna stay up because of him. Uh, Forest and Bournemouth are just so goddamn bad, dude. It's like they can't score goals and they leak goals. They have awful goal differentials. They aren't scoring. They're conceding a ton. Um, I think the other guys have just enough to keep themselves out of relegation, but the Forest and Bournemouth are doing nothing to move me out of them or move them out of 18 and 19 for me.
Yeah, I wanted on the record too that when I gave my Forest prediction, it was before they went cheaper by the dozen and bought like 25 players. That strategy was never going to work, and I need that out there in the atmosphere. With that being said, I think they'll stay up. I think Leicester. I don't know if Leicester's going to make it, and I think West Ham's my other team. West Ham have a game in hand, but they are so bad right now. And it feels like they've just kind of given up at this point. And Declan Rice, I mean, is, obviously frustrated. Some of those other guys just aren't holding up their weight. I, I'd have to take a look at maybe the schedules for the last 8-9 games, but
Yeah,
West Ham
that's
is the
a,
team to look for me to be in the danger zone.
that's what I'm looking at right now. And looking at Leicester's schedule particularly, because I think it's Bournemouth and Forest. Just I agree with Pat. They just can't score, and defensively they're just not there. Um, but Leicester do look like they have a strong opportunity to stay up based on their last few games. They have Bournemouth next. They do play City. They do play Liverpool, but it's Wolves, it's Everton, it's Fulham, it's Leeds, and they end the season with West Ham. So, given that, they are in a really shitty, poor stretch of form in their last five, four losses and a draw. I think if it's the time to get hot, it's now for Leicester if they do want to stay up. But I can definitely see them falling out of the Premier League.
West
Come the
Ham
end of the
Leicester on the
season.
last day has fucking banger potential. That has banger potential written all over it with how
Yep.
bad these two teams are.
Crazy
I'm
because both of them
I'm
went deep in Europe last year, and now they're fighting for relegation.
relegation. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, Leicester's last three are Liverpool, Newcastle, West Ham.
Yeah,
So
I knew they played City in there, but I didn't know that they also had to go to Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool are bad, but like Leicester are fucking stink. You have
Also,
to think that's 6 points they're missing out on. Fulham's going to be a tough game for them too.
Everton.
Everton, Wolves, they have three of their last eight are relegation battles.
And
Mm,
is that Everton game away for them? Can you tell?
Let me check. Let me
If that's
stats
at
check that.
Goodison Park, they're not fucking getting anything from it.
It is at the King Power.
Oh, okay, they might get something, but I don't know. We'll see. This goes to show you a couple things. One, we talked last year about West Ham, how good they did, but how risky it was that they got European football or went so deep.
Yep.
The next season, they're just like dead and buried. And then all this goes to show you that we really know nothing because all of us 2 weeks ago are saying Leeds were going to get relegated. And
I was
now,
not.
now
I
they're
was
a little
not.
bit.
I've been a believer.
Some of us were heavy on it.
I ride with my
The more
American
I'm looking
boys.
at these end of the season fixtures for some of these lower teams, like guys, I feel really bad about Bournemouth's fixtures right now.
Yeah, Bournemouth, they can pull a win like out of nowhere, but they also, I don't know, just
They have
consistency with
United,
them
they
is
have
an issue.
Chelsea. They still have to go to Selhurst. They go to Goodison on the last day.
Yeah, they're not going to get anything from that.
I'm not feeling good about. They have Spurs too. They have to go to Spurs. I'm not feeling good about their run of fixtures at the end of the season here.
Yeah, I think it'll be, damn. I really don't know. It's so close. Which, honestly, too, like this is a great part about the Premier League. It's not even if like the top of the league's done, the excitement of a relegation battle in the final few days is just as good as the top four race, if not better.
Yeah, sometimes it's better. Like
Sometimes it's
especially
better
this
than top
season
four.
where clubs have run away with it. Like I think we're going to get an interesting title finish again this year, which is exciting. But like, I honestly think the bottom three is more exciting than the title right now.
Yeah, and we saw it with Everton too, like last year, just like the passion and everything. Those last few weeks, it'll be interesting.
And boys, speaking of relegation, we got teams that are going to fill these spots. Right now, we got Burnley, Sheffield, Middlesbrough, and Luton. Top four in the championship right now.
Well,
Burnley
who's top two?
Top two is Burnley, Sheffield.
Okay, so who's the next four?
Middlesbrough, Luton, Millwall, Blackburn.
Oh, Millwall back in the Prem and the Millwall Chelsea derby.
The championship is looking fucking crazy. Norwich is in seventh.
I need the first team you said, Millwall and Luton. I need both of those guys back in.
Yep.
Burnley are definitely going.
Burnley's gonna for sure.
Luton's
Burnley
on
are
a burner too, boys. They've won 4 of their last 5
Okay.
and are sitting 6 points clear of Millwall.
Dude, Millwall back in the Premier League would be talk about an away day.
Yeah.
Holy shit, the Lions Den.
This is I just love the end of the season vibes. Like when I don't have to stress out week in, week out about what's gonna happen and are we gonna win the league, you can really sit back and just enjoy it. Cause the fuck are we doing? We're sitting around pulling our puds, having shit ass fucking 0-0 games at Chelsea. I'd rather go get drunk at a youth soccer game and watch them kick the ball at each other and run in a mob. That would be more entertaining.
It's also just like you can just have a way more enjoyable weekend when you're not like analyzing every single thing that happens in the Premier League.
Dude,
Pat
Wigan
still has
going
that
down
on the run in, hopefully, fighting for the title on the last day. But
I'm never gonna care. It's way easier if you whatever happens, happens.
fair enough. We do have Champions League coming up this week, Pat. Pat, how are you feeling? We talked about it last week, but how are you feeling? After playing Liverpool, good result for you. How are you feeling going into Bayern?
We're winning.
Confident.
we're winning that tie.
Is the first one home or away? Do you know?
Good question. It's at the Etihad. It's at that because
Okay.
the second leg's at the Allianz.
Okay.
I I feel good about it. I think City are playing good ball. I think Bayern pumped Dortmund, so that's not like super exciting to see. But like two of the Bayern goals were flukes. Like they were fucking awful goals.
They also lost to Freiburg in the middle of the week and went out of the DFB Pokal. I think that might have been
Exactly.
today.
So I'm not. City are playing great. They're playing some of the best ball they've played all season. We're hitting our stride at the perfect time. Bayern are still a little inconsistent. Yeah, Thomas Tuchel scares the shit out of me. I'm terrified of terrorist Tommy, but I think we're gonna get through.
Terrorist
I think we're
Tommy.
beating them. Bookmark it, sign it, check it, clip it, whatever. City are beating Bayern. See you in the semifinals, and then we're gonna lose to Real Madrid, but see you in the semifinals.
I like the confidence. I do. Yeah, it's kind of funny because Milan are playing Napoli as well, and Milan just like
Milan
killed
murdered
them.
them.
Yeah, that was a bad one. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, the other games, I think Real Madrid, and I think we're all pretty set on Benfica, Real Madrid for the other two games.
Yeah.
Like Pat said, some other just kind of fun like around Europe stuff. The Bundesliga is obviously as close as it's ever been. I was super hyped going to watch that Dortmund game this weekend, and they absolutely laid an egg like they always do. It's the hope that kills you for Dortmund fans.
Yeah, they got killed.
That Kobel guy must be going through it. That first goal was absolutely abysmal.
Oh my god, dude! And you know what? I know I just said that goal was a fluke, but like that's something I can see fucking Ederson doing. So I'm a little worried.
We get at least two of those a Premier League weekend,
Yeah.
It was bad. It was bad. And then I think was it yesterday or today? El Clasico. Real Madrid beat Barcelona 4-0.
Yeah,
Yesterday.
beat the shit out of them, dude. I turned it off at 3, but another hat trick for Benzema. It was funny
Crazy.
because Barca looked. I ended up watching that game. Barca looked so on top for the first 45 and a half minutes. And then Courtois makes the crazy save in the dying moments of first half stoppage time. Madrid run down the field and score a snatch and grab goal. And then Barca fall apart.
Yep.
I've seen that story multiple times this year.
I think Gavi might be a little lucky to have stayed on the pitch with yellow card accumulation. Just he does this thing where he like fouls and fights and gets like scrappy in the midfield to hopefully make people like realize like not pay attention to the fact he's actually not that good.
I think you have to do that to make up for the fact that a club legend banged your mom.
Valid.
You have to go do it. You have to make up for it somehow. Let's turn the tables and talk about managers. We've already kind of touched on most of them, but just general opinions. First one, Brendan Rodgers is out at Leicester. Feels like he's been there a while now, 4 years or something. Not surprising.
It feels like he's been there like a year and a half too long.
We've had this conversation every year.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had it at the beginning of last season. It was and he did well in Europe last year. Leicester made it pretty far. But yeah, his ball just is not Premier League quality. He'll go back to Celtic probably.
He's always been someone I'm surprised never got sacked sooner. That's just kind of how I feel about him. Like they go in these like wildly terrible runs of form. They get pulled out of it for like a 4 or 5 game stretch. They like get a big result somewhere in there and it saves his job. But the fact of the matter is he's been pretty shaky.
He must be a
couple of years.
Unbelievable guy to have around at the training ground because I mean the same thing happened at Anfield. Like I don't know how he's able to finagle these extra years out of his contract that he so clearly doesn't deserve. Must be a solid guy.
Must be. And the last one, the only other sacking of the week, Steve Cooper was kind of on the fringe. The Newcastle owner actually had to come out and make a statement saying he's safe for now. The big one that gets sacked, though, is Graham Potter finally falls at Chelsea. One we've been building up to, it feels like, for months. When is he going to get sacked? I mean, the results just haven't been there, especially with the investment that Todd Bowley has put into the club. Any takeaways from this, guys? I know you're not surprised by it.
Clearly wasn't the move, buddy. Should
I
have stayed where you were.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the guy. I really, really do. I think leaving that project he had at Brighton so swiftly and just going straight to Chelsea, a club that are known for not backing their managers, immense pressure under every hire, and then with all the investment they put in, like knowing that you need to succeed or you're losing your job, like I don't know. It's just it feels like it was career suicide. It feels like it's going to be so tough for him to get another job somewhere else, especially at high profile. Like you can look at what he did for Brighton, and you can point to like yeah he's a good coach, but De Zerbi's got them playing just as well as Potter did.
If not better.
Yeah, if not
I
better.
was
Like
gonna say that.
it's tough, man. I think he should have held out for the right job.
Was his
Not
ascension too quick, or is he just out of his depth at a club like Chelsea?
I think his ascension was too quick. I think if he was put in a club that will like adequately support him and address the needs of his system and what he wants to do, I think he is a good manager. I think if Bowley was going to back him in the correct way, he would have panned out a lot better. I think you look at this Chelsea team and there were some obvious holes that needed filling. They needed a proper replacement for Conte, and it took them, $120 million and several months to bring in Enzo Fernandez, who yeah, he had a good World Cup, but he hasn't really been proven to be a guy that could come in and replace an injury-prone Conte, who now is back and has looked all right. They've needed a striker. They don't have someone to score the goals. They don't have a player like weirdly enough like Maupe or any of those guys that he had to work with at Brighton. Just someone that holds the ball up and can operate well for his wingers, and they just
They don't
never
they
had
don't have
that
anybody
for
to
him.
stay on side.
They bought João Felix instead. It's just not a player of the right profile, and I don't think that Bowley backed him, and Chelsea spent a lot of money, and I think there are some takeaways for that like he needs to be held accountable, and with all that money and all the talent, he should figure something out. But the fact that he wasn't properly backed and given the correct players to suit his style, I think does say something about him. And I think he should get another shot somewhere else. Maybe not as high profile yet, but I still think he could potentially come good for a club that will correctly back him and let him like really play his ball.
I'm just getting big Nate the Great vibes from this guy. He's just like it feels like he was just bought out by a bigger club on a bigger stage, and he was like at a small club pulling the strings and made it seem like he was the reason Brighton were doing what they were doing. I'd be curious to see if he does land at a smaller Premier League club and if he has the same kind of success or is able to build the same
Mm-hmm.
um, type of team from a lower mid-table side back up like he did with Brighton.
I would
Do the
agree.
Broad model, just go over to Scotland, win a couple
Yeah.
Scottish premierships, and come back, another big job.
Hey, Leicester need a manager. So
Yeah. Speaking of other, guys coming back and getting big jobs, Frank Lampard of all people is the one who takes the throne at Stamford Bridge for the second time after his campaign with Everton. He comes back and is the man in charge for the last 9 games, which he also in his press conferences has not ruled out next year, saying
at
if the
least
performances are good enough, you never know.
so the thing about this time that's different, at least they're telling him he's interim manager. But the fact that he still is like leading on to next year as interim manager, hey buddy, why don't you get into the training facility and figure out what to do with this entirely new squad of players that are here that you haven't
Yeah.
touched?
Well, if we know one thing, it's Mason Mount is going to be a regular for Chelsea again.
Oh yeah. And the fat face memes are back.
Oh my fucking god, the 400-pound Frank Lampard memes are great.
So good.
Great.
How do you guys think that's going to turn out? You think it's just going to still be a
Terrible.
disaster for 9
yeah,
games?
it's going to be bad. The players, I don't know how. I heard Tim Howard talk about this on NBC today. How do you win back the players after his performance, especially of like just not getting enough out of his players, and Tuchel comes in and wins a Champions League in the same season with the same group of players? How do you look that coach in the eye again and respect him, or that want to get up for him in a big game?
You don't?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard.
And I feel like these Chelsea players, I mean, I'm not one to talk on their whole dressing room, but they feel a little bit like they're out to get the manager and stuff. They always have been a club like that. But one of my topics after this was that the Chelsea players were calling Graham Potter Harry and Hogwarts behind his back. Rumored that Kai Havertz was going around the training ground saying this.
I mean, Kai Havertz is like Lord Voldemort. Terrible at finishing.
Yeah, that's a good pull. The report even came from The Athletic, though. So, I mean, you think Lampard comes back. If they were treating Potter like that after a couple of months, what do you think they're going to do to Lampard after,
They're going to be
Club
printing out
legend.
fat face memes and leave him on his desk.
Club legend. Respect the manager.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's going to be a mess.
You brought up Nate the Great. I do just want to, now that we're going to bring it out of bounds to close the episode out these last couple of minutes here, just a couple of fun quick fire topics. End of the season predictions for Richmond's Premier League finish. What do we think?
I mean, I think they're going to win it.
I don't think they're gonna win it. I think they're going to if they're getting a fourth season, they're going
not.
to. How do we know?
They've confirmed this
I
is
think
the
they've
last
confirmed.
already.
Fuck.
There might be spin-offs, but
I think they're winning the title in dramatic fashion.
I have a feeling they're not winning the title. I was gonna say they're finishing fourth and going on to Europe, but
I'm saying they're winning the title in dramatic fashion, like on some on the last day type shit.
Yeah, I would agree with Pat probably.
you think it's gonna be Jamie Tart?
I think we're going to see a really big Jamie Tart, Eden Hazard arc, and he's just going to ball out.
Yeah, the character.
Well, for Chelsea, not for Real Madrid.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Okay.
Chelsea Eden Hazard.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens next after the 4 red cards.
Spoiler alert,
dude! I didn't watch this week.
That's on you.
It came out like yesterday.
No, it came out 2 days ago. You did have 2 days. Came out Tuesday.
Cut it.
But I mean, spoiler alert still. Sorry.
I didn't know.
On the episode description. My only other topic, I had the Hogwarts Harry Potter thing was one, but my only other out of bounds topic was Jose. It's on the manager side of things.
Just cut that. That.
Well,
I'll have you edit it in post.
Yeah, we'll edit that in post.
No, we won't. Anyway.
Jose.
I'm taking it, by the way. That's so much money.
Yeah, 120 million to go to Saudi Arabia. Supposedly Al Hilal has offered Messi a contract as well. So Messi, Ronaldo, and Mourinho could be in Saudi Arabia in some capacity next year.
I think Messi's probably going to finish his career with Barca. He's not extending with PSG.
You think he's going to finish with Barca over Miami?
Yeah, they want him back. I think he'll do like one more year with Barca and then call it quits.
I think he's going to America.
I fucking hope so. Oh my god, dude! I would sell my limbs to see Messi live.
That's his. I feel like that's his last Infinity Stone to like celebrity to like just like make the rest of your life where you don't have to worry about anything. Going to America and getting the recognition over here, and that would just blow your brand up.
No matter where he plays for, I will be seeing him.
One of 3 clubs. I see him at Atlanta, LAFC,
or New England.
If Leo Messi gets reeled in by Bruce Arena and Robert Kraft to come to New England,
playing on artificial turf,
I will buy Bob Kraft another massage.
I'll give Bob Kraft another massage.
I'll give it to him. You're right.
Revs.
But no, it's LAFC, Atlanta, or the Columbus Crew. That's it.
No, it's gonna be
Miami, and
because he's
that's
homies
it.
with David Beckham.
Nah.
If you,
Fuck Miami. You
I'd
gonna
love
go
to
play
see him
for-
just hang it up.
You gonna go
Just
play
quit
for
at the top.
Neville?
What?
Isn't Phil Neville the
Yeah,
manager at LA or Miami?
Miami.
Yep.
Romeo Beckham too. He's on loan at Brentford B right now, but he's a Inter
He
Miami
needs to
lad.
play in the East so we see him at least once.
That's not true. You might see him on an off
Playoff.
year. Minute we
But
play
it's easier
yeah,
if he's in the East.
this is true. We'll see. We'll see where he ends his career, but Jose, the Saudi Arabian deal is pretty funny. I don't think Jose really needs the money, so I'm not sure what he'll do, but
Come to America. We need a
yeah.
manager.
True.
I mean, I think we've talked to multiple people, Pat, and everyone's saying Jose to would be the preferential option, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
I don't either, but it'd be nice. Anyway, I think
That's episode 32.
Yeah, that's episode 32.
Done
Thanks
it,
for tuning
dusted.
in. Like, comment, subscribe, share the thing, rate the podcast 5 stars, please. I'll love you forever.
Yep.
Thanks. See you guys next week.
Peace.
Deuces.